Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Council of Future Conflicts, episode 560. We're talking the Venezuelan Vivisection and England Enraged. You know, Joe made a great point. I originally had this as something else for the second title. He's like, if you're going full alliteration, you should go both titles. And I totally agree. So thank you, Joe, for catching me out, slipping on that. You know, that's what happens when you take so much of a luxurious break from the show like I have done in recent weeks. You know, I just get out of the mindset of it. You're locked in. By the way, I want to say thank you. But both me and Watcher flaked on Monday, and for completely different reasons. And Joe's like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." And then he realizes at the last minute he doesn't have access to the show stuff. You know, like because we only have room for 2 accounts, and so you don't have the ability to start the StreamYard live. So you just went live on Tactical Wisdom, right?
Yeah. And Jim stepped in and lended a hand. And I'll say it again. I said it for the folks who were here on Monday. If Jim shows up at your house and says, "Hey, man, I got this bag of meat here and I want to cook it over the open fire," let that man cook. He knows what he's doing. He was here over the weekend, and we had some pork loin that he made, and it was pretty amazing. Just an all-around good guy, good man to know. But I want to point out the absolute hypocrisy of an officer doing something on Labor Day. Okay.
I mean, you know, like I'm just saying, we did go. We went
a good time. So
we went and saw some live music in Seoul, and you know, just got heading back later than we expected, and so I mean, you know,
yeah, we were allegedly
mea culpa
to the rodeo and do the whole Montana thing, but then Alan pulled out an SVT-40, the forerunner of the Dragunov SVD, and my plans went out the window. So.
Yeah, so the SVT-40, that's that semi-automatic like Tokarov rifle, right?
Rifle, yep, the forerunner of the Dragunov. It's like if you took a Mosin Nagant and a Dragunov and slammed them together. That's what you get. The SVD is. It's absolutely gorgeous rifle, but it was fun, and then he had a Remington 700 that needed to be dialed in, so. I amazed Miss Linda on my ability to zero a bolt action in under a minute and a half. So,
well, you know, I mean, you got to do it sometimes.
Well, the Remington 700 is such a solid platform that it does most of the work itself. So.
I was gonna say, I mean, you know, don't they have technology that basically lets the rifle shoot itself for you now?
Yeah, pretty darn close. I mean, a dang good rifle. His is way nicer than mine because it's the old school wood stock and everything. And of course, I've got the new synthetic, whatever. But look, man, the way they used to make rifles was absolute craft and artistry, right? We've lost something with going to the all plastic stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, like I've got this whole list of high tech, you know, wonder rifles that I want to buy for my gun cabinet to sit and look at all day long when I retire and all that stuff. But ultimately, one of the guns that is absolutely on my list, and I would say probably top 5 things I want to get post retirement would be like just an old school M1A. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, with the walnut, you know, stock, not the plastic nylon one. I just old school M14 clone is what.
Speaking of, since I see Be Prepared in the chat, that man knows what I'm talking about because he has Freedom's right hand with a wood stock. So he has an FAL with the wood stock.
Wait, is that the picture that you posted on X over the weekend? Oh, me? No. Did you see the picture that that Canine Reaper posted? They had a Woodstock FAL that they found at like in the aftermath of a cash in transit heist, and I was like, oh, is that a it's an old school like South African FAL.
I'd be like, oh, that's going to have to be confiscated and investigated.
Yeah, we're going to have to take this back to the lab.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of people who need to be taken back to the lab, Low Key LARP gifted 5 subscriptions for Future Conflict. Thank you, brother, very much. And just to kind of show that he's still there, Hunch a Dirty Roofer gifted 5 subs for Future Conflict. Both of those over on Rumble. If you aren't a member on Rumble, jump in the chat, post something, and you'll probably get one of those.
I'm going to tell you, Hunch is a tempter, and not in the way y'all think. Get your minds out of the gutter. I've been making a commitment to not make as many online purchases, and Hunch has made it his mission to just fill my Signal inbox with the best deals on the most awesome tactical gear ever, and I've really been successful at resisting so far. At least that's what I'll say, recorded on the internet. So.
Joe, one of the things I've been noticing about looking at the radio gear and whatnot, whether it's our buddy Brush Beater store stuff or just other stuff, in the old days I was really kind of like a big fan of the high end like Motorola stuff and the ICOMs and all of the stuff like that, right? And yeah. I do have a lot of respect for all that stuff. They build it. It's basically so fucking expensive because they try to build it bulletproof. But if anything, they build it too bulletproof, and so the price point is way higher than what you're actually like getting. Right? It's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And so, like the other end is the Baofeng kind of stuff, which is where, this radio is like $5, and. Is it better to have 100 $5 radios or one $500 radio? And I think the answer is I'm leaning more towards it's better to have, more of the cheaper stuff than.
I'll be honest. This $5,000 Motorola right here that I have in my hand. Yeah. Down in Oklahoma, Don the Pleb was with me, and I was using this next to a Baofeng 152. And other than the fancy stuff this does, like encryption and all that, the Baofeng is the better performing radio overall for the basic send and receive of analog systems. The $60 Baofeng AR152 is the better radio. So,
Hunch is setting the record straight. You foisted this addiction on me, so really it's all your fault.
Yes, he is now very much into the tactical drip. He does look good in combat, so. Which reminds me, that's the biggest challenge and why I have to start prepping 6 weeks out for what I'm going to wear at the Scout and Recce course and Fieldcraft course. So,
I would have if I were going, which I'm not, unfortunately. Oddly enough, originally I was planning on going because I thought other things were going to be going on in my life, but I have changed those plans, and so. I think for me, Joe, it would just be which T-shirt would I wear, right? I mean, and do I piss you off just by wearing the cutoff frack you like camouflage pants? Just to I could say, listen, these were officially government issued camo pants.
Yeah, I said this at one point, not only are you wearing multicam in my presence, but they're cut off multicams.
It was exactly that's the right answer. But
yesterday when I was going through my gear, I found these brush beater shirts and I was like, I have almost as many brush beater shirts as I do tactical wisdom shirts. Maybe I should wear them. And then I got a notification in my email that I have 2 more brush beater T-shirts coming to me from Matt saying, wear these on the show. So when I get the Kyber optics shirts, I'll have them on. So.
Yeah, I would love to have one of those T-shirts.
Low key LARP, you're not far off. Rhodesian summer dresses. I bought my wife because I'm smarter than the rest of you. I bought my wife Rhodesian brushstroke yoga leggings, and she loves them. So smart guy. I'm a smart guy.
If I could get around to pulling the trigger on some of those the combat pants, the night desert camo combat pants, then I would be one step closer to night desert camo combat pant cutoffs. I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
hey,
all right.
USB. Matt and I both have left AR-152s out in rain and snow and heat and everything, and they still perform rock solid. They're in good shape.
Here's the thing that I like to do to piss people off, and Joe could attest to this. Like, I like showing up, completely like, like what the hell do I know, right? And then I'm able to throw on a heavy pack and go right up the hill without anybody like,
Although I will point out, you did complain that I didn't have a groomed and ready trail for you.
It's true. That's true. I mean, it's a safety hazard, Joe. You know me. I was just wondering if I should put on my PT belt just to make sure that
who's wearing the PT belt for this little ruck?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
You never know when a high-speed vehicle might come up from behind.
I was like, look, Josh is, but he's so skinny and small you can't tell.
All right. Anything going on in your neck of the woods, Watcher, that you want to talk about before we go? I think the answer is no, because you've already had a bad enough go of it on X. I don't want to kind of like pick at the scabs.
You can check in on X if you want to see about that, but I'm alive.
All right. Let's jump into our first one here. So Beijing had their annual coming out party. And I love the image that comes with this. Like, they just want to show not only North Korea do we have better looking K-pop girls with guns in our parade, but they have
now.
Oh. But, hey, now, Joe, this is not multicam. This is some sort of multicam fake off, but it's like some sort of desert color wave, right?
It's China Arid multicam.
I know. I kind of like it, if I'm honest.
This almost looks. This looks sort of like a porn video cover. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are they singing? Is what I want to know.
Well, I was just thinking probably Disney's a girl we're fighting for.
But, oh my God! Hold on a second. I'm going to do something I shouldn't do here.
Why are they carrying ARs?
Well, I don't think those are ARs. Watcher, can you zoom in on one of those? What exactly are we getting ourselves into with these?
Whoa, what the heck? Hold on. Something's playing and something turned on in the back. I don't know what's going on. I'll be right back.
Oh, well, we lost Watcher. Joe, I don't know if you know this, but Grok now comes with a free image like generation and animation tool.
Yeah, since we went to Grok being basically child porn, I stopped paying any attention to it whatsoever.
All right, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but like 12 different screens opened on my window.
I'm gonna share something. I've done something I shouldn't have done.
Uh-oh. Oh, you AI'd it. Yeah.
It's animating though, I'm just saying it's anyway, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Fascinating.
All right. So anyway, China has had their annual coming out party. And
a copy of the AR, what is it?
I think I would have to look at the image. Hold on a second.
From what I can see, it's probably a QBZ-191.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say whatever Watcher just said. Joe. If you zoom in on it, there's some very AR features about it, but it uses like an AK style mag, so it's not a like that's it right there.
All right, let me rephrase. AR's pattern rifle. How's that?
Yeah.
Is it AR pattern?
Well,
I don't know.
I'll look up about the 191, but yeah, it's called the QBZ-191. Here we go.
Yeah.
Chinese assault rifle chambered in 5.8 by 4.2 millimeter. What the fuck?
Hey, let's just make it as hard to be common with our allies as we possibly can.
I know, right?
What? Huh?
I think it's got basically an AK style bolt group inside of it too.
Stands for light weapon rifle. Oh boy.
So the BBC article here says, "What's new? What new weapons show at huge parade say about China's military strength?" So the first thing, so they ask like I have points and stuff, and they say, "How well can China deploy its weapons?" Well, all this stuff looks great, Joe, but and some of it may even seem more advanced than some of their Western counterparts, but in fairness, almost all the major systems that the West uses, we actually know they work, right? You know, when used as designed. Go ahead, Walker.
I've got some updates. So it is. Do you guys remember the Norinco QBZ-95, that little bullpup rifle that they were showing videos of themselves when it was funny because they were like in a 10-foot range and every single round
they
was
were
keyholing,
yeah. Right?
Yeah. So this is basically the non-bullpupped version of that rifle.
This further bears out my theory. Every nation who attempted, with the possible exception of Venezuela Special Forces, who attempted to use a bullpup rifle has said, "Nah, this is garbage. Let me get back to a traditional layout rifle." The ergonomics just don't work. It's almost impossible to conduct a mag change while prone. It's just not smart.
British Special Forces, French Special Forces, every single one of them use AR pattern rifles when their regular forces use bullpups. There's a reason behind that.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So the interesting thing about this is this is Chinese weapons that are let's be honest, are they ready for prime time? I don't know the answer to that and nobody does, because they haven't been tested in the real world. I'm sure they work fine on their ranges, in the middle of the Gobi Desert. But Joe, one of the things we learned the hard ways is some shit just doesn't work as advertised when you get to war. I think Ukraine has found that out, and so has Russia recently. But the one thing that I do say about with the Chinese, the breadth and width of all the things that they showed, these are Chinese weapons. These are not like Russian or Chinese copies of Russian weapons. These are now essentially Chinese weapons.
I love when they show a torpedo and call it an underwater drone. It's literally just a torpedo, but torpedoes are drones.
Well, so in fairness about that, this is the form factor that even we're going with a lot of our underwater drones. So
yes, and torpedoes are just drones. I mean, they work the same way. You could always remotely guide a torpedo. You could always change its course. You could always abort it. It's a torpedo is a drone. It's just a weird choice of terms. That's all.
As long as it's still wire guided, right? As soon as you cut the wire because of maneuverability or something like that, then it's basically on its own, like a javelin missile, right? It's self-guided, but at the same time, it's guiding off the last directive you gave it.
Yes and no. There are some that do remote telemetry. It's a little bit harder underwater, but it can be done. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So,
but drones they're also wire guided drones. So. Tomato is what I will say to you.
Well, yeah, the like the RVs, that they send from ships down to, but that's not really a military tool. I mean, it's mostly a civilian type of thing. But the thing that I was reading about this drone, that's unique is the fact that it basically is long range, meaning like it can literally cross the entire ocean, and it can surface. It can upload information, download. It can do the work, kind of remote work of an attack submarine, not with the exception of the attack part. It can like hunt other submarines and things like that, and then come to antenna depth and whatnot, and connect back. So it is a little different than a torpedo. It's basically a freaking torpedo on steroids.
A smart torpedo. That's what it is.
but I don't know that it has any kind of a warhead on it. I mean, it would make sense for it to have a warhead on it. But
you see where it says nuclear capable?
Yeah. I got that because that's the Russians eventually had. I remember correctly, they had one of these like super nuclear torpedoes that would basically just go across the Atlantic and blow up.
Yeah, was it the Poseidon or the Typhoon?
I can't remember what they called it.
So,
China also showed off its GJ-11 stealth attack drone, dubbed the Loyal Wingman, which can fly alongside a manned fighter jet and aid in its attack. Besides an array of...
Funny they would use our term for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, but see, that's just it. Everything that they're showing is...
Yeah.
Well, it's like, listen, we're as good as you, if not better, in everything that you do. And oh, by the way, we're doing things that you're not doing, like this nuclear torpedo, right?
You know what's funny? China is the new Imperial Japan, right?
Yeah.
The way it is.
They're definitely kind of picking up the Meiji Restoration kind of tactics, where they basically just adapt the mode and operation of the Western powers, but they're just doing it 100 years later than Japan did. Let's see. The drone display shows a clear direction that China wants to take its military strategy, where it not only wants to augment but replace traditional structures. It's clearly taken the lesson from the Ukraine war, where one could just throw drones at the enemy to wear down their defenses. The alacrity of the kill chain matters, says Mr. Neal, pointing out the fast-moving battle decisions have been made in nanoseconds to defeat enemy and gain the upper hand, which is what AI can do. Many countries are still concerned about deploying AI in their military systems and asking how comfortable we are putting AI in the kill chain. But China is very comfortable with that. They believe that they can control AI. They're going all the way to integrate it into the system. So if the Terminator comes about, it'll come about because China is the one that actually puts it into play first. Joe, let me ask you this. I mean, I think just from a moral standpoint, I think the United States would be hesitant to do this for various reasons, right? Do you think there's problems with China actually just basically saying, hey, listen, we can control AI, so we're just going to use it fully to its maximum?
Yeah, all the technology with none of the moral framework.
Right.
It's a bad thing. But I want to point out something here with the comment made about drones and AI. If drones and AI were truly having the impact everyone claims they were having in Ukraine, why is Russia continuing to march west? Right. So at some point, you have to realize drones are really cool. They have changed battle, and you do have to consider them. But in the end, mass formations of infantrymen making line charges is what is taking ground and what is winning. So,
all right. The U.S. talks about here, China may have technology, but the U.S. still has an edge. The parade clearly shows that China is catching up quick. This is interesting that they make this point and distinction, Joe. So I'm kind of impressed by the BBC in doing this. The parade clearly shows China is catching up quickly with the U.S. military and technology and has the resources to build up a huge arsenal of weapons, but the U.S. maintains an edge in terms of operations, experts say. The U.S. military excels because there is a bottom-up culture where units on the ground can make decisions as the situation evolves, alter their fighting strategies. This makes them more agile in battle. China, on the other hand, is a top-down approach where they have flashy platforms and systems, but they do not move a finger until they receive an order from the top. The Chinese think
that whoever read that needs to read or wrote that needs to read H. John Poole. It's actually the other way around. The U.S. military is very top-down. The lower levels don't get that much input. In my opinion, of course, I'm probably wrong, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd challenge that one a little to Joe. I mean, and you know that I've got plenty of experience to kind of to have an informed opinion. So I won't completely disagree with you because there are aspects of this.
Clearly, you just said my opinion was uninformed. So
I didn't say that. I said that. I said. No, I didn't, Joe. I didn't say that.
Okay,
what I said is that my opinion is informed too, and I would just push back a little bit.
I'm not an officer, so I get it.
You know, the irony, though, Joe, is that the irony is we've come a long ways from the quote where, you know, like they said that the problem with the Americans is that they don't follow their own doctrine. There is some truth to that, but there's also some problem with the Joes at the bottom don't follow the doctrine, but the generals tend to be slavish to it. That's the distinction I would make. But, you know, hey, what do I know? So anyway, I thought that this was an apt thing because there is a kind of a tension in the U.S. Command structure that kind of goes between what Joe said and that kind of lower level thing, like what they're talking about in the article. But in a communist system, you know, that was one of the problems that they had was the Russians had in World War II was that they weren't able to adapt to some of the German, let's be honest, some of the more outlandish things that the Germans did. Ultimately, it was, you know, the wonder weapons couldn't keep up with the numbers that the Soviets had. And ultimately, they just ground them down. And maybe that's going to be the Chinese methodology with all these new weapons. You know, you yourself said, Joe, that Russia continues to be effective with old school tactics on this new drone enhanced battlefield. All right. The Chinese think it's technology that creates deterrence. They believe that they will deter the U.S., but at an operational level. There have been instances which show that may not be as good as they say they are. Dr. Raska says, pointing to recent encounters such as an incident last month when a Chinese warship ran one of its own smaller vessels as they confronted the Philippine Coast Guard. Let's be honest, Joe. The Philippine Coast Guard was running fucking circles around the Chinese Navy last month. I still can't figure out why that fucking happened. It's pretty fucking embarrassing of the Chinese.
I think I have some small idea of how it happened, but just more of an educated guess. You know, culture of extreme aggression amongst the captains, getting people promoted. Right, like the more action you can take against them, and the more you're willing to bend and break the rules, the more you're likely promoted, which means that they start doing more and more and more and more dangerous things in search of recognition and promotion inside a system that's pretty much your only way to do so.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious how that happened to me.
Well, right, and I think that's one of those kind of like promoted when you promote people too quickly. Sometimes they aren't ready for the tools they've been given.
Correct. Yeah. I would suspect that was just somebody trying to get ahead.
You know, I'll push back Alpha Omega. The T-34 in its own way was a very good tank. You know, the Germans ended up copying a lot of features off of it.
When the T-34 came out, it was a great tank. It's not in modern context. No,
right.
It was.
In World War II, it was... We were having trouble with upgraded versions of the T-34 at the very beginning of the Korean War. So, I mean, it was still a force to be reckoned with on, and especially once they put that 85 millimeter cannon on it later in the war. I think it was like 43, 44. Maybe it was late 44. Anyway, yeah. And the other thing about the T, this is my favorite bit of like tank trivia from World War II. So I apologize. You brought the autist in me out. The Christie suspension on the T-34 was an American invention, and the Christie, the guy, tried to sell the idea to the U.S. Army and everything, and they weren't buying it. So he took it to the Russians, and the Russians bought it. and it freaking worked. So T-34, yeah. Wait, we could slope armor. That's exactly right. This is the reason why the Panther had sloped armor in the front, was because they learned that trick. The Germans learned that trick from the Russians. The fifth point in this BBC article is the parade was a weapons sales pitch and a chance to show the U.S. a united front. With the leaders of more than a dozen countries invited to the event, the parade of weapons and tanks was essentially a giant sales pitch on Chinese arms to potential buyers. Some of the countries in attendance, such as Myanmar, are already known to be buying huge quantities of Chinese weapons, but the chance to sell to new customers or increase orders. So yeah, I mean, Iranian president, Russian president, Kim Jong-un, you've got the Azerbaijani president. So definitely a wide variety of characters there. Joe, were you surprised by all the different attendees at it? There was even some Australian, like, what is it? Their parliamentary ministers of parliament showed up.
Members of parliament, yeah. No, not really. Because all these parades are always sales pitches, right? They have the same ones in Moscow, and Xi Jinping is just trying to be like Putin. I was surprised at the fact that Lukashenko was not there. I would have thought he'd have been there, but I don't see him in the photo. I don't see him anywhere around. So yeah. I found that interesting. But no.
Well, I thought Modi was supposed to be there for this, but I guess not. And then the Indonesian prime minister, or whatever they call him, I guess he was there, but maybe not for the parade. I don't know. Let's see the message. Let's see, if America wanted to challenge them, it would mean fighting them on several potential theaters at the same time. So essentially, this is China saying, "This is what we've got, U.S. It's your move now." By the way, we talked about the DF-6 intercontinental ballistic missile that was shown off. Not super crazy. DF-61. I'm sorry, but this is a missile that's capable of. There's multiple versions of it in different types of, different ranges. There's a medium range, intercontinental version. There's, a MIRV version with multiple warheads. There's a submarine launch version. So, they're basically trotting out all the things that we would have to deal with, the dilemmas that they would create for the United States if we went toe-to-toe with China in some theaters, such as Taiwan, South China Sea. These would be the places that would be most likely. Final thoughts, Joe and Watcher?
I wanted to bring up one that's an obscure one that photo triggered a memory in me. Post 9/11, Vladimir Putin put out a speech where he said, "Hey, we sensed something was wrong with our intelligence assets in Afghanistan, and we called our counterparts in America and told them something was off and they were planning something big." Remember back in the good old days when people thought Vladimir Putin might actually be a good guy? That was back when he was trying to join NATO and all these other things. I think it's just funny how history has turned, and mostly because we've made it turn that way. We turned some of these people away from us when we probably should have greeted them with open arms, and we might not have the problems we're having in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, is he a good guy? No, but at the same time, he tried to be friends with us before he became an adversary. So.
Is he a bad guy because we made him that way? Did he start with the potential to have been an ally, and we made him an enemy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Joe. I mean, if he basically, let's assume that because he's Russian, he has an authoritarian nature, but he could have been maybe turned to the light, if you will, if we had opened our doors to him a little more fully. That's the $64,000 question that we'll never get the answer to.
Yeah, and it's one that you and authoritarian while we're cheering on a president deploying troops for domestic law enforcement capacity. I'm just saying. Anyhow.
Watcher, you got any final thoughts on the China stuff?
Just that I don't know about anybody else, but I've seen enough of these now that it starts to be like, oh, I don't even know what of this is new. I feel like none of this is new. I feel like maybe it's just better marketed this year than it was last time. I don't know. I'm reassessing what I think about China and their strategy and tactics in the upcoming days or in the upcoming years, just because I don't know, the more that I'm starting to think about it, the more that I'm looking at their assets that are available, the more I'm looking at the resolve they're showing in various areas. I don't know, maybe Taiwan goes differently than I've been thinking. That's all I'm saying.
What were you? Wait a second. What were you thinking? Were you thinking that it would be tough fight, but ultimately it would go our way, type thing?
Yeah, I've said for a long time that's like that ultimately, like, the price is too high for China to pay. Like they want it, they can come get it. We can't, like, we don't really have the capability to stop them. We just have the capability to make it very expensive. And I don't think for a long time, my thought was, I don't know that they're ready and or willing to do that. Without taking option B, which option B has always been just use the People's Liberation Army rocket forces to essentially level the island before you get there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the Chinese calculus is that they want to get as much intact as possible.
Correct.
Before they just kind of decide, okay, we're gonna wipe it out.
But now, I mean, honestly, with some of these sub drones and that kind of stuff, I don't know, man. They might be able to do like a slow strangulation encirclement without even putting a single one of their men at risk.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Joe, this is kind of goes back to the strategy we kind of thought that they would do, which is the blockade and basically dare the West to try to break the blockade, right? And the West would basically say, well, it ain't worth it. So ultimately, it would be the war without ever fighting a shot, which goes back to Sun Tzu and.
Yeah, well, and the crazy part of this to me is like, hey, if those drones, if they have any way to take out a ship that is unattributable, which, I mean, currently what we're looking at, that would be pretty attributable. You'd be able to find fragments, right? But there are other ways. Like, you could absolutely make one of those that leaves mines. And guess what? Ship mines can be bought on the open market. They're just... It's not like they each, when they explode, leave an imprint that has a serial number or something. Like, sometimes you can figure out who laid the mine, but only for the most part when it's like, hey, only X country makes that mine and they don't sell it to anybody. If it's one of the mines that's on the open market, or if it's a copy of a mine that's on the open market that's a good enough copy that you can't tell it's a copy, then you could legitimately have China doing unattributable damage to U.S. and Taiwanese shipping infrastructure without anybody really being able to target them for it.
All right, let's move on. All right, next up, this is the Times. 6 candidates for Germany's AfD died before the election. And Joe or a Watcher, one of you guys said before the show started that it's now up to 7?
Wasn't me.
Watcher, was that you?
Yeah, sorry, I had a glitch there for a second. But yes, as of this morning, it was 7.
So the radical, remember, this is a UK article. So the radical right-wing Alternative for Germany party has cried foul after 6
or
of
if
its
we would
candidates.
call it center left.
Right. 6 of its candidates died in a run-up to municipal elections. While there's no indication that any of these deaths were suspicious, some of the party's more prominent MPs have suggested that dark forces may have been at play. Next weekend, voters in North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany's most populous state, will elect their local authorities. The AfD has traditionally been quite weak in that region, where it won a total of only 5% of the vote 5 years ago. Polls suggest that could treble that figure this time, but is likely to finish in third or fourth place behind the center-right Christian Democratic Union and the Social Democrats. However, the campaign has already been jolted by Elon Musk, the world's richest man, who on Sunday endorsed AfD's candidate to lead Cologne, writing on X, either Germany votes AfD or it's the end of Germany, which it's probably true. There is no evidence of foul play in the deaths of the 6 AfD politicians. Police said most of the causes of death have been ascertained. One of the candidates is known to have taken his own life, and the other 4 are known to have been ill. Illness sounds to me like the easiest non-attributable method of assassination that I can think of.
Polonium poisoning is an illness.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And how many suicides, in air quotes, have we seen throughout Western politics, right?
Hell, just connected to the Clinton machine alone.
Well, I wasn't going to say that out loud, but
I mean,
here's the thing that bothers me, right? Like, it's not like they went through and said, hey, all the people who were involved in the Stasi, you're not allowed to be involved in politics anymore. You're exiled. No. In fact, many of their most prominent figures were heavily involved with the actual no shit Stasi. Are we surprised?
The Stasi, by the way, is basically the East German KGB, but to an nth degree, right? They were actually worse than the KGB in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Because they were internally focused as much as they were on anything else. Let's see. North Rhine-Westphalia's returning officer noted that the candidates from several other parties have died during the campaign, with thousands of politicians running for hundreds of seats in the state. It's not clear whether the 6 amount to a statistical anomaly. That has not prevented Musk and various figures in German right from insinuating that something is amiss. In reply to a post on X from a far-right economics, I love how they just throw far-right in front of everything they want to discredit.
Well, that's because they
why can't he just be an
fascist
economics professor? Right.
Well, it's because they overused fascist, and the note went out recently that they can't use that anymore. So now they're switching to the old reliable.
In the news, they've always done far right wing, and radical right wing, and then I think that's because it's easier to say without getting sued for libel.
May I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. They say it's not, that it's not clear whether it's a statistical anomaly. Okay, then list how many people have died from every other political party.
Right.
I'm guessing it's not 6, and it's not anywhere near 6, and the number is probably 0.
I'll look this up real quick.
Let's see. In a reply to a post on X, a far right-wing economics professor would suggesting that the pattern was almost statistically impossible, which I agree with. Stephen Brander, an AfD deputy leader, told Politico's Berlin Playbook podcast, in my view, it's a statistically striking and difficult to explain at present. Up to now, I've never in my life heard of so many politicians from a single party dying in such a short space of time before an election. And I'm right there with you, Joe. There's no accounting for this at all.
So Benny Napoleon, a very popular yet right-wing figure in Detroit politics, who had been the chief of police and undersheriff in Wayne County, won the election and then died immediately after, and they just put in place the guy they actually wanted to win.
Are you ready for this?
Not unheard of, right?
You ready? 7 AfD candidates, 1 Green Party candidate, and 1 Social Democrat.
Well, then I guess it is a statistical anomaly.
I mean, it's clearly a statistical anomaly. Good Lord, man. They're not even trying to hide it. I mean, this is just one side of the kind of story that we're going to talk about with England later. And, I wouldn't be surprised if some English politicians didn't start falling over dead. And maybe that's the reason why reform is cucked out so much, with Nigel Farage. But anyway, we could get to that here.
Did someone figure out the proper way to use the Chinese sonic weapons?
They finally tuned it just right.
Wow, I think somebody finally figured out you got to plug it into 220. It doesn't work so well on 110.
Right. Let me see. By the way, before we go any further, Hunchy Dirty Roofer for $2 said this thing is a freaking Frankenstein Temu. We have it at home version of CMMG's MK47 Mutant. It's the Chinese Down syndrome.
yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, brother. You can say that on Rumble, but I probably will get banned on YouTube for repeating that. So just if I do, it's because of you. All right, J-Sub, member for 35 months over on YouTube. How many fighting age males does the CCP have in our hemisphere and North America and South America alone? Yeah, that's a really good question.
Unfortunately, information unknown.
Well, the sad thing is, how many of them came across the border in the last 4 years?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying we have no way of even estimating.
Yeah.
Although I will say that last super chat was a bit of a perfect lead-in to our next story.
Yeah, it definitely was. So let's. I don't know if you guys. So this is. I guess the video originally came out last week, maybe beginning of last week, maybe even 2 weeks ago, but we haven't really talked about it here on the show. But this is definitely worth kind of. There's a couple good things here. A, that he did it. B, that he was kind of he's having a laugh at himself a little bit. And then finally, there's some really good stuff on the tail end. So this is so if you guys real quick before we push play, if you guys saw the video, the guy basically engaging a bear in his house recently with his AR. That's what we're going to be talking about. And so he did a kind of funny little thing where he took the same camera view from and then he put all his shit on and made a joke about it. So and then he talked about the engagement after the fact. And he's got some tactical wisdom for us at the very end. So let's give this a listen.
Hey, I saw you creeping around down here. I'm the bear guy. As you can tell, this is my house and my bear arms, and I'm bearing arms. And I think there's a bear down there. Let's go check it out.
Cut to the actual video.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, it's
Joe,
been a few days. Yes, I'm the guy.
Push pause. Joe, I get the feeling we're gonna get a video like you of you with like bears coming out of the Montana woods and trying to break down to get the honey that you got in the kitchen there around the corner.
Because you wouldn't believe the steps I have to go through at night to appease certain people that there's no way anything can get in the house at night. So
that all lasts until Winnie the Pooh comes through your front crack.
This video came out, and the way that our dryer works, it makes it really hot in the building if you run the dryer. So we open the door while the dryer is running, right, to let the heat out. And she's always like, "Please make sure you closed and locked the door." Yes, because bears frequently turn doorknobs, right? But she's worried about all that. So yeah. Crazy,
It's been a few days. Yes, I'm the guy who shot the bear in his kitchen, and I just wanted to answer a few of the questions that I've been getting, the most common questions. Number one, did you get to keep the bear? No,
I didn't get to keep the bear. I called the sheriff. I called Parks and Wildlife. If you shoot a bear in self-defense, you don't get to keep it. Too bad. How did it get in? It climbed up on a second-story deck, jimmied open a cracked window. It gets hot here during the day, but cools off a lot at night because we're in the mountains and we don't have AC, so it's nice to leave the windows open. Jimmied open that window, pushed in the screen. That's how it got in. Is your hearing okay? Yeah, my hearing's fine. If you're perceptive, I had a suppressor on my gun. I suppress pretty much all my guns. Did you know it was a bear? No, I did not. What gun did you use? Yeah, everybody wants to know what gun. I used a 5.56 Geisley Super Duty 11.5 inch. I love this gun, probably be my favorite AR forever now. Do you have any new holes in your house? No, I do not. I shot the bear 7 times. The bear ate all 7 rounds. One fragment went through the bear and just barely nicked my floor, and the ammo performed flawlessly, which leads me to the next question, which is, in my opinion, the high IQ question. What ammo did you use? I used Hornet E Critical Defense, 55 grain, and man, FUDs are punching the air right now because you can shoot a bear with 5.56. That's it. That's probably all you're going to get out of me. Sad for the bear. Didn't want to shoot a bear. It's just how it went down. The thing charged me in my kitchen. What are you going to do? One quick word for my Christian brothers in the room, and that is you should have agency. What do I mean by that? It means that you should be able to protect those in your care. You should be able to assert dominion, and you should be able to assert your will in certain circumstances. The world is going to freak out when you do that. They're used to Christians being doormats. And so get used to pushback, but you should have agency. Basically, that means you can just do stuff. Christ died for you. You can just go do stuff now.
You know, Joe, I think this is the perfect segue to tactical-wisdom.com. And the reason why I say that is because what you do through your books and your, let's be honest, ministry, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of wisdom from the Bible in your works, is you give people agency, right? You give them the knowledge that they need to be able to then act on their own in a way that's empowered. So bravo to you for that. I just wanted to make that connection there before we go into your segment.
Yeah, well, before we do, I mentioned it in the chat because a couple of people mentioned Charlie the bear. What we have learned in the last 72 hours is that Charlie was apparently short for Charlene, because we saw Charlie on Saturday night with her 2 cubs running across the campground. So Charlie is Charlene, and she has cubs. Here's the thing. If you ever see a bear, look around. If you are between a mom and her cubs, your life is indeed in danger. So be there. Anyway, I'm not gonna comment on the guy's things about agency because it's slightly off. But we have a class coming up this weekend. We have 2 of them actually. One's getting home. That's all day Saturday. We can come and learn how to build a get home bag and how to actually use it and make a plan. And then Sunday's the one I think is actually going to be pretty popular, and it's Baofeng Basics. We're gonna get out the little Bufang radios and teach you how to shut off the angry Chinese lady, how to program them so you can actually talk to somebody, and how to be realistic about what you can get out of it. And hey, you're welcome, Loki Larp. Thanks for the comment. And then after that, we're going to jump into a mountain survival class and fieldcraft here, and one more community security apps before we head out to fieldcraft down in North Carolina, October 21st to 23rd. If you don't have plans for mid to late October, you can come out and see Angry American, NC Scout, me, T from Mountain Readiness, and a whole host of other people at Mountain Readiness in North Carolina. I think that's the 18th and 19th of October. Then from there, we have one day off, and we'll be transitioning back to Matt's place, and we'll be watch her. It doesn't matter if it's Charlene or Charlotte. It's the same thing. Sorry, Washer threw me off with a Joe, you're wrong again. Seems to be the theme today. Anyway, then we'll be doing Fieldcraft, Scout, and Recce all in one big sweep. You can get all kinds of training over that. The big announcement is that next summer, July 26th to the 28th, We will have Mountain Readiness West for the first time right here at Camp Ponderosa. We already have several big names signed up to come out here. Yeah, Angry American, they're actually going to show up, unlike some people I know. They're all going to come on out here. We're going to have a big event here. The weekend before that, July 18th and 19th of 26, War Lizard Tactical. Joel Gaines will be out here teaching people defensive firearms. And so you could come out for the War Lizard Tactical class, stay all week, and come to Mountain Readiness West and have a fantastic training week. I will obviously fill the week in between with classes with me and some of my friends, and we will have a great week. So if you're looking for your summer vacation next year, spend it in Big Fork, Montana. Hey, buy some books, by the way. Go ahead. Yeah. It's all right.
All right. Janine Rogers, member for 30 months. Christian weakness has been to allow non-Christians to define us. Yeah, I think that you could. That's a fair cop. But I think that has as much to do with Western culture as anything else. All right, gentlemen.
Gene Rogers, Christian weakness has been allowing weak Christians to define us. That's a bigger problem.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fair.
I think that is a good and deep cut.
All right. Moving on to our brush beater ad. All right. Tonight we're covering the enraged citizens in the United States, the United Kingdom fighting back as their government turns fascist, plus the looming Venezuela war heating up. From tyranny at home to battlefields abroad, it's time to stand tall and enter our sponsor, the Brush Beater store, led by NC Scout, good old Matt, with training to keep you in the fight. When governments overreach or wars ignite, Brush Beater's RTO course equips you with secure comms to coordinate resistance or battlefield operations. Outsmarting oppressors and invaders alike. Take it further with the advanced RTO course, mastering signal intel, electronic warfare, and to stay steps ahead in urban uprisings or jungle conflicts. And for the front line, tactical combat casualty care course teaches you to treat wounds under fire, ready for England's streets or Venezuela's chaos. Join the fight at Brush Beater's Yanceyville, North Carolina training facility, or hit brushbeater.store/collection/training. Use code CFC10 for 5% off courses, radio gear. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt at Brush Beater Store for backing the CFC. Go to brushbeater.store today, enter CFC10, and train to resist and endure. All right, let's jump back into. By the way, the Kyber optics are flying off the shelves. Some really interesting things that he's doing with those. Some stuff coming down the pipe that he kind of gave me some information about. So I'm really excited for the future of that. You know, Joe, my biggest problem is that when I finally decide to get an opportunity to buy optics for my gun, are they going to be in stock? I mean, they always seem like they're gone quick.
Well, I hear a rumor that a 1 to 10 LVPO and a 3 to 18 by 50 is on its way here. So we will try that out and see how that goes. I'm still working on the feedback for him on the RMR. It's pretty solid. I had a couple other knowledgeable people shoot it over the weekend. So good stuff. Hey, man, we might set one aside for you. You never know.
I mean, you know, I'm just saying. I think if all things being equal, I'd rather buy things like that from people I know than from just random places on the internet where, you know, they sell through viral marketers.
I'll tell you too. Him being a trained sniper, he knows a little thing or two about optics. So him designing them himself and having the manufacturer make them to his specs actually reassures me a lot more right at the outset. So we shall see. And Hunch, I honestly don't know on the Jimbia. I really don't know.
All right, Jimbia, yeah. Well, I mean, if we didn't tease you, then what would you have to look forward to, Hunch?
Right.
Uh,
MDO. Be prepared. I second that. Love the MDO. It's a great site. Really, really good.
Is that set
Especially
up?
green. I'm sorry.
Can you get that to mount on like pistols, or is the mount for right? Okay, I didn't know if
you're going to use on a pistol, it's an acro mount, but so you need an acro plate, but it comes with it. So
okay, yeah, it's just interchangeable.
Yeah.
All right. First up in our Venezuela segment tonight, a DoD rapid response on X, and I'm sure you guys all saw this, so we're gonna just kind of show it again because it's always kind of fun. Earlier, this is from DoD rapid response. This is a quote from POTUS. Earlier this morning, on my orders, the United States military forces conducted a kinetic strike against the positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the CELCOM area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Nicolas Maduro. Sleight of hand there. Responsible for mass murder, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the United States and the Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters transporting illegal narcotics heading to the United States. A strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Please let this serve as notice to anyone thinking about bringing drugs to the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for the attention on this matter. The criticism came out quickly and swiftly, Joe, that this is illegal. They can't do this. They shouldn't do it, even if it is legal. It's just not good policy. What say you guys?
Well, I'm going to take the unpopular opinion and question it. I'm not saying that it's legal or illegal because I'm pretty positive it's absolutely legal. But we've been interdicting these ships for a long time. What was different in this case? Well, I'll tell you what was different is we're seeking a confrontation with Venezuela, and this is one way to get it, killing Venezuelan citizens on the high seas. So that's probably why. I think y'all will notice the redacted portions on the side. That's because this was a shot by an aircraft, not a drone. And that's that heads-up display. We don't want the world to know what all it's tracking. So anyway, my opinion is it's 100% legal. Don't know that it was advisable.
Yeah, right. And that's why I kind of caveated that. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's the right policy. Hey,
putting the Jews in the concentration camps was legal. So,
well, I mean, I guess so. That is it smart versus morally indefensible. I think if the best criticism of this is that it might not be the smart way to go, but if you want to get into a war with Venezuela and you want Venezuela to jump, maybe this is exactly what they want. And I don't know why you would want that. I mean, Joe, you and I have been very kind of critical of lack of action by U.S. forces against threats in the Western Hemisphere. That being said, I don't think you should go trawling for conflict, right? It's like, I think you should be strong. I think you should be upfront, but you shouldn't go seeking an enemy to make a mistake so you can slap them down.
I think this gives us an excuse to deal with the thorn in our side that's been there for a while. That's Nicolas Maduro. And I think that's where we're going. I've said all along that he is on the Noriega arc, and that's where we're going to end up. But I want to point out the number of folks who just like have their head in the clouds. There are a lot of people who, when I said something on Twitter, were like, "No, this is going to stop the flow of drugs into our country." No, it is not. It may very well, if we do go kinetic and we strike a whole bunch of these, it may reduce it. There's absolutely nothing that's going to stop the flow of drugs into the United States. Nothing.
I if anything, it's probably even like Noriega was a key link in the Colombian cartel's kind of pipeline, and then 10 years later, essentially the Mexicans had completely picked up all that and increased the flow. So it's kind of like, six half dozen the other. It's, I don't know that Maduro is I just don't have I'm not educated enough on his role in the narco trafficking to understand. I think he's probably being like Noriega was actually involved, whereas I think that Maduro is probably just a pipeline that allows people to operate through his area because it's striking at his enemy, which probably is not smart.
What's
hold on.
we got $20 to make a shout out.
Let me get this first and then I'll let you continue, Joe. Big N 599 for $20. Have a latte on me. I will not have a latte. I will have a different type of beverage, but thank you.
It is PSL season, my friend.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, do they do that in Korea?
Huh?
What do you mean?
Well, PSL, pumpkin spice latte, right?
Oh yeah. I forgot all about that because that's not a thing over here. I mean,
it's not a thing in my house either. So,
well, but you guys are inundated by the advertising, right? I would assume.
Yeah. Well, it's Han Solo season, right? Where the women go around dressed like Han Solo in their black pants, brown boots, and vests. So Han Solo season is upon us. Brace yourselves, pumpkin spice, everything is coming your way. It's time for pumpkin spice steak. That's coming. I know it is this week. Anyway, what I was going to say was the most interesting thing about that statement wasn't that it happened. It was the wording. There was absolutely no mention of the completely made up Cartel de los Sols. And instead, Donald Trump asserted the incorrect fact that Nicolas Maduro is the leader of the Tren de Aragua street gang, which is silly. It's not true at all. He may very well have some input in their leadership, but he is not the leader of Tren de Aragua. So,
yeah, that's a good point. And I'll be honest with you. This is where you play the meme, the Humphrey October meme. This is. Somebody's gonna, it's gonna heat up, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be bad. So
it's literally right there in front of you.
I don't know. I have to search for it there. Let's see. Oh yes, here we go. It literally was right in front of me.
Fire on the flight deck. This business will get out of control. It'll get out of control, and we'll be lucky to live through it. Fire on the flight deck. All hands.
Can let me ask you a question, Joe? How many times on a Navy ship when you were in the Marines did you see somebody in like full dress uniform?
That's an unfair question because as a Marine, I was in a full dress uniform almost every day on a ship as a captain.
But you weren't in like BDUs most of the time?
Most of the other Marines were, but the four of us that were on the captain's protection detail had to wear dress blue deltas, which is dress blue pants and a khaki shirt and a white hat.
Well, but even that's like khaki shirt, right? Like he had the whole full like coat on in the background. I just noticed that. I mean, maybe it's just something I don't.
That's because he had just reported aboard the ship when that happened. So. I think it was the only uniform he had with him or something. I don't know.
But that is a thing though. So it's not like completely like out of place for them.
No.
Yeah, the whole Navy thing is a completely different world for me, and even the Air Force dresses up more snazzy from time to time than the Army. All right,
be prepared. Being a fellow nerd of the prophet said he was dressed as Navy as well. We all know Jack Ryan was a United States Marine, not a Navy officer.
That's right. But I guess he did go to the Naval Academy, right? That's canonical. Let's move on. So this is the news article about that. And it kind of this is why I think you'll find that Joe's analysis on this will be prescient. Heg theft to narco terrorists, assets gathering in region after drug boat blown apart in missile strike. In Fox News interview, U.S. Secretary Pete Hegseth said this morning that Tuesday's military action against a drug-laden boat that departed Venezuela killed 11 Nicaraguan militants, warning this is just the beginning. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get Hunch's super chat here on Rumble. Hunch is there for $10. Thank you, brother. That is not cheap. What was stopped was a mere drop in the 5-gallon bucket. The majority of fentanyl smuggling is coming south now, not north. This is about optics and PR. They're trying to appease the Warhawks with those. My question is I think this is mostly cocaine, though, that comes out of Venezuela, no?
Yeah. The fentanyl, though, like as I'm just pointing out, is coming across the Canadian border. And there are several labs that have been found in British Columbia and Alberta that are taking the precursor elements and putting them together and then moving it south. So, yeah, it is mostly cocaine coming out of the south.
Hey, Watcher, you want to play this this Hegseth statement here real quick?
Sorry, yes. Let me pull it up on X so I can actually full screen it.
All right.
It live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs. Last year, under the Biden administration, all 4 years, 100,000 Americans died from drug-related from drugs, from the use of drugs, many of which poured in from Central and South America through our southwest border. Now, we're sealing the border. But President Trump is willing to go on offense in ways that others have not been, and to send that clear signal to Tren de Aragua, Cartel del Sols, and others emanating from Venezuela. We're not going to allow this kind of activity. You're poisoning our people. We've got incredible assets, and they are gathering in the region. And so you want to try to traffic drugs? It's a new day. It's a different day. And so those 11 drug traffickers are no longer with us, sending a very clear signal that this is an activity the United States is not going to tolerate in our hemisphere.
Well,
You know, Joe, one of the things I thought was interesting about this, 11 guys in a narco boat, right? I mean, normally I would guess it would be something more like 3, because you just need like a pilot and some guys to handle the stuff when you get there.
Yeah,
I thought that 11 was a little high.
I'm not entirely certain that craft would hold 11 people. So with that much drugs in it, right? Why were there 11 people? That seems very cost ineffective, very inefficient. So there may be way more to that story than what we're being told.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to know what the interaction was with that ship beforehand. What sort of commands were given? Were they disregarded? Did they accelerate? Did they open fire? Whatever. But here's the question. If Tren de Aragua is so bad and evil, and they are, that we should just kill them, why do we let them out on bond at all when they're arrested in the U.S.? And why are we not going door to door and arresting every one of them that we can? Instead, we're only catching the ones by chance that we get, and we're letting them out on bond at ridiculously low bonds. If they're that dangerous, why have we not declared them all enemy combatants and let the ships land where they are?
Well, you know, the one thing that I wonder about with this video, because a lot of people are like, well, and you asked this exact question yourself. You said, we normally do these interdictions. It's usually the Coast Guard. They can either do it by helicopter or by vessel. They basically pull up, they seize and then that way they've got the evidence, they get the people. I wonder if this is less about the narco part and more about the terrorism part. Maybe this is an 11-man team that was basically hitching a ride on a already scheduled narco boat, in order to infiltrate north. If you look at the map here, they've got these boat routes going up to Dominican Republic and into Central America rather than going like straight across to
why wouldn't
Florida.
We say so?
Well, that's what I wonder, because the military has been a lot more kind of, let's say, less forthcoming when it comes to information about terror.
It would be a massive PR win if we said, hey, look, we caught this Tren de Aragua boat leaving. There were 3 TDA guys on it, but there were 7 guys from Hezbollah on board this boat. So we took it out. That's a PR win.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think through it as to why they would do something different than what they normally do. So, and 11 does seem like a little high for the number of people in the boat. So that's why I was wondering why. Maybe that's what the extra guys were.
Hey, Rick Rick might have picked up on it. Gulf of Tonkin. Exactly.
Let's see. Hegseth on the boat says U.S. won't stop with just this strike. That doesn't surprise me. And if you go to that, look at this map here, you've basically got now, Joe, this is your territory right here. You've got the Iwo Jima, you've got the San Antonio, and you've got the Fort Lauderdale. Now that's a lot of Marines on those 3 ships.
Yeah,
if I do my math correctly.
People claim 4,200. It's actually around 36 in an MEU, unless it's got a lot of extra attachments, which I would ask why. It has an additional 600, but yeah, it's about 3,600. It's an infantry battalion, of a force service support battalion, and an aviation combat element. So an aviation squadron. So that's a lot coming in, but this only lists the U.S. assets. There's 3 destroyers, a cruiser, and a submarine. France has deployed additional Marines to her area there and sent a couple more warships. And the Royal Dutch Navy has sent a couple of ships and a bunch more Marines to St. Martin. So everyone is beefing up their presence off the coast of Venezuela. If you look at a map, the French and Dutch possessions are literally right off the coast of Venezuela.
Right. Well, Martinique and
forward bases, right? So,
yeah, Martinique and St. Lucia, and I can't remember what all those islands are.
Well, St. Martin is half Dutch, half French, so
yeah,
they're all there. There'll be a lot going on. So,
yeah, I absolutely. And then you've got. I don't know if they're worried about the Russians coming in and trying to resupply. They've got and oh, Joe, you'll be happy to know we have an LCS there. To kind of make sure
to draw fire. Very cool.
as our designated
all of you shouting at me in the in the chat about it being the judiciary. Y'all missed my point. Why are we even the judiciary? If we can just kill these people because they're terrorists, why are they not going into internment camps? Judiciary not involved, right? So,
right. I'm just kind of looking at the chat here a little bit. Narco boats have evolved into semi-submersible. Yeah. These things have gotten really complex. I think the most complex ones have come out of Colombia. But I wouldn't be surprised if Venezuela doesn't have access to the same tech. It's not high tech. It's pretty low tech, but it's
only one thing that they could have done to save that boat, and that was slid into Djibouti. They'd have been all right.
And then, just to remind people why we might be interested in Venezuela for other reasons outside of narco terrorism. Slide on to the next graphic, watcher. Country sitting on the largest oil reserves. Total proven reserves per country in 2020 in billions of barrels, and with 18% of the global world reserves in Venezuela. And oh, by the way, all of our refineries are tuned to take specifically the high sulfur oil, crude oil that they produce. Saudi Arabia comes next at 17%, and then it just goes down the way. So yes, Western Hemisphere defense. And here's the other thing too. I mean, this is absolutely policy that Trump has put down. It's policy that I've advocated for, is to really make the Western Hemisphere uncomfortable for powers outside, for European and Asian powers, i.e. China, the EU, Russia, anybody like that. And so this kind of gets to the whole idea of hemispheric defense and the Neo-Monroe doctrine. That being said, I've already explained that I think you should just be tough on people, but you don't you don't try to goad people into a fight. I'd let Joe, this may be the kind of like the quick wham bam, thank you, ma'am, show everybody what you can do, and then that way it scares everybody off. I don't know if that's their rationale. That wouldn't be my first choice. I would like to do this without fighting wars. I think last time we saw somebody who thought he was going to get into a wham bam, thank you, ma'am kind of war was Vladimir Putin rolling in his guys to take over Kiev, and you see where we're at 3.5 years later. All right. Let's see. More details on the action. Earlier this morning, orders U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against the Territorial. We heard about that. 11 deaths. As for President Maduro, he alleged on Monday that Trump is seeking regime change through military threat. That may actually be true. As for the U.S. claim that those slain narco-terrorists were directly under Maduro or were state-linked, this is still anything but proven. In fact, there could be evidence to the contrary. I think, I honestly think this is one of the kind of the best claims about the critics is that they should absolutely produce evidence that shows what the specific threat from the people in this boat were versus the more broader narco threat, which is what they're kind of leaning on. Let's see. Yeah, and people are using the administration's, cheerleaders. Tulsi Gabbard previously was quoted as saying the United States needs to stay out of Venezuela. Let the Venezuelan people determine their future. We don't want other countries to choose our leaders, so we have to stop trying to choose theirs. I mean, that's a fair cop, I think. Unfortunately, it's Michael Tracy that brings us to us, and he incorrectly identifies her as a tank at the same time.
Be prepared. 100% right. This is Jack Ryan, season 2. 100%.
Right. Unfortunately, he is able to identify TV shows better than he is armored fighting vehicles. Let's see. Stephen Miller. Combat and dismantle drug trafficking organizations, criminal cartels, and these foreign terrorist organizations in our hemisphere. Amongst other things, most seaborne drug trade routes are via the Pacific, not the Atlantic, where U.S. forces are. And much of that arrives via the Caribbean, comes on clandestine flights. So anyway, yeah, so I get it. There's a lot of people who are super pro-Trump and MAGA that really want to cheerlead this. There are points to this I think have absolutely valid. And should we be tough on the Western Hemisphere? Yeah, we should be. That being said, I don't know that this is the answer. I am not convinced one way or the other at this point. So I support people like Joe who question this strongly. I'm just waiting for more information. And if it works out poorly in the end, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's right at the moment. It was short-sighted. All right, let's move on to our next one here. Well, this kind of goes into the Guyana thing. Joe, I want to just read this article. Let's just kind of kick this one around. I mean, we were talking about the Venezuelan oil reserves, and as if they didn't have enough oil reserves, Venezuela has stated that they also want Guyana's oil reserves, which would, if you want to get the U.S. in an actual war in that region, have Venezuela invade Guyana and see what happens.
Well, there's rumors that they already have, right? There's rumors of guys running around in the bush with guns. But this is just socialism 101. A socialist has never seen someone else's property that they didn't like, right? And decided they wanted a piece of.
Well, the state needs to seize the means of production, and
Right.
literally they mean oil production in other people's countries.
Kind of was a hot dust up on Sunday where a a boat carrying election materials throughout Essequibo, claims to have been fired upon by the Venezuelan side of the river. They claim they returned fire and broke contact, and went on with their mission. But the Guyanese side is claiming they were attacked by the Venezuelans. The Venezuelans are saying that didn't happen at all. But if you want to fight, we'll give you one. So very interesting. Who knows what's going on? And as I pointed out on Monday, everyone who says, hey, but look at the Colombian troops massing on the Venezuelan border, those are to support Venezuela. Petro said that they would consider an attack on Venezuela as an attack on Colombia. Those are there to enable them to move in. It's almost like everyone knows a war is coming except the American public.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I think I even remember Petro even decrying like this is an attack on the Bolivarian, spirit of. So he's basically linking Venezuela and Colombia directly ideologically. So
reminder: the Venezuelan army is not called the Venezuelan army; it's called the Ejército Bolivarian. So the Bolivarian army.
If I were writing this novel for the estate of Tom Clancy and the new, what is it, the Jack Ryan, like son of Jack Ryan series, I think I would have put the CIA trying to goad Venezuela from Guyana versus the whole off the the narco terror thing, because I think if you could goad Venezuela into actually invading into Guyana, you've got a much better casus belli to jump into the.
And how would you do that? You would stage a border incident, then you'd sink a boat full of the citizens of one of the nations.
That's right.
Interesting, huh?
Even better is if you could kill some Venezuelans on the Guianan side and get the Venezuelans to jump and we're just securing our people. Oh, sure you were. Anyway, so I just like Joe said, the American public are the only people in the Western Hemisphere that don't see this coming like a fucking deer in headlights. Let's see. We just kind of hit the Guianan election. Yeah, this is what you were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
The election materials. And by the way, you've still got Conoco and Chevron are huge partners in and Exxon in Guyana. So a lot of American petro stuff there. Let's and so this is where you find connections, right? So this last story for this section here is Rubio flies to Mexico for security talks amidst Trump pressure campaign. And so if you don't think that Mexico is completely off the hook because Venezuela is getting all this love, you got another thing coming. Secretary of State Rubio flying to Mexico on Tuesday. He speaks fluent Spanish, doesn't he? I assume he does.
He's going to meet the mayor of Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum.
Claudia Sheinbaum. The president of Sheinbaum of Mexico has been engaged in a delicate balancing act with Mr. Trump. She's trying to cooperate in areas where the two nations have mutual interest, but must also show Mexicans that she is not bowing to what many people in her country consider to be bullying by an American leader. I mean, stand up to Trump. I totally think that these countries should stand up to Trump, and you'll get the India treatment, and that is a 50% tariff and essentially the complete castration of all trade profits with the United States. I don't know that that's working out well for them. And I'm also hearing, Joe, there may be, kind of freezes on Indian visa by the State Department. I thought that was the most.
See it.
I know, right? That's actually the most exciting thing for me.
And meanwhile, we're going to bring in 600,000 Chinese students who are confirmed yet again to be spies.
Well, no, I don't know if you saw that, but people raised a fuss about it, and by the end of the weekend, they made a reversal on that. They're not going to allow any additional Chinese students.
No,
Additional.
Let me just make one minor correction to what you said, Watcher. They released its statement saying they weren't going to do that. That's not the same thing.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I will say, though, as far as, look, there are some politicians that are political windsocks, if you know what I mean. And when you see some of those people starting to do things, okay, I won't bury the lead. Mike Lee, who is world champion flip-flopper, is now out publicly asking, "Oh, is it maybe? Do you guys maybe want us to deport the H-1B holders too, like the legal immigrants? Do you guys want us to get rid of them too? Really? Huh? Oh, weird. I didn't know this." I think changes are coming. Big changes.
I wonder where the 600,000 number came from, because like right now
it was part of negotiations. It was part of visa it was part of the trade negotiations with China, as we were trying to say, hey, we'll give you X number of visa slots.
But that would be essentially a doubling of the current number of Chinese students in U.S. colleges.
If you don't think we have enough H-1B visas, I challenge you to come to Glacier National Park, and I'll take you on a gorgeous hike at the very top of Logan Pass. And I'm going to have you close your eyes, and then I'm going to ask you what country you're in, and you will say India. So,
facts.
All right. Let's see. Trump has secretly signed a directive ordering the Pentagon to take military action against certain. I love how they make it sound so nefarious that he's secretly done this. He's literally said out in public that he's done this. So it's not a secret that he did this against Latin American drug cartels, and that the administration has labeled terrorist organizations. Several large Mexican cartels, including the Sinaloa cartel, Jalisco New Generation cartel, are amongst the criminal groups in Latin America that the State Department has in February designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Oddly enough, despite all of her caterwauling, Sheinbaum is absolutely giving support both through the military and the federales to both U.S. law enforcement and military operations in the area. So if you think that the Mexicans aren't playing ball, they're just being really loud in public, and then basically letting us do the dirty work for them in the background.
Here's the question I have for Ms. Scheinbaum of the Cozumel Scheinbaum family, traditional Mexican name, or what? The Americans can't act unilaterally within my borders. Okay, or what?
Or what?
Oh, okay, well, we'll let you, but it's because we wanted you to. It's not because you wanted to. Okay.
Yeah. Well, sure, they killed 15 people outside of Jalisco, but it's because I let them. That's what she's gonna say. And it's
yeah. Well, no. Actually, we did it. We killed those 15. I mean, this is not the Americans. Scheinbaum has said
that she actually pull that off. We have enough special operations guys who are Hispanic. I saw a movie about that once. It's called Clear and Present Danger.
but you know what? Instead of dressing them up like soldiers in the woods and being secret, they would just dress them up as federales and stuff like this, and have Mexican uniforms on, and you would never know the difference. Didn't that guy have a kind of a Puerto Rican accent? Yeah, but his family was from there originally. Let's see. Scheinbaum says she's working on the terms of a new security arrangement with the United States. I bet she is. Officials from both countries.
Put it on the screen, Watcher. Jay Supp's last comment. I'm sorry, but it was very funny.
Don't you all recall the Scheinbaum second, the Aztec? Yeah, that
is a Goldberg Mayan tribe too.
Yeah, the lost tribe of the Temple Mound. Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait a second. Watcher, doesn't the Mormon faith have something about the lost tribe of Israel in the New World?
That's the entire point of the Mormon faith.
That's what Mormonism is.
I don't. So maybe Scheinbaum's one of those.
No.
Definitely
no. All right. So let's see. Officials from both countries have discussed a broad agreement that would encompass intelligence sharing, cooperation between security forces. I bet they would cooperate. But Sheinbaum and her aides have insisted that any arrangement guarantees the United States respects Mexico's sovereignty, meaning that the U.S. military would not take unilateral action from Mexico against people or cartels. Okay, well, I mean, so that just means there'd be a Mexican guy sitting between the two hulking Delta Force operators as they go to break down doors. And he sweated and goes, yeah, this is okay. I'm, you know. Oh no! Now we're conflating the black Hebrew Israelites with the Mexican Hebrew.
Raven Ash on the screen. It wasn't the black Hebrew Israelites. It was actually the Mexican Hebrew Israelites all along. Today's show is great. It's classic.
Shambomats. Yes, they got a lending practice.
Listen. Oh, damn Jews. Oh.
All right, moving on. Let's go to our second topic for the day.
Aryan Hebrew Israelites. Very good, Jay Clark. Very good.
All right, let's look this first story here. We're getting back into some interesting. We're starting with some familiar territory. Andy knows going to talk about this, but. England Enraged. So this story is as much about this. This story is not entirely about this, but it kind of opens it up with this is how paranoid. This is how paranoid that England's getting. So if you want to play this video, this Joe Rogan clip, it's not too long.
Our fucking news has failed us.
It really has. It's allowed this to go on for 10 years. Do you know about? Did you see what Andy No's investigation into Trantifa? This gang of actually Trantifa is a more general term, but there was an actual gang of trans-identified guys and women, and they went to this guy's. This guy was I think he was an old rancher or something, and they blinded him in an attack. You know. And then he went out to, he was going to testify at the trial, and they killed him. So what we have with this group, I can't remember what they were called. I wish I could remember. But what we have with this group is because no one has been doing their jobs, including the press, and not talking about this properly, an entirely fake terrorist group that thinks it's a civil rights movement has formed out of nothing. These are middle-class white guys, right, who normally would be, I don't know, going to gigs and stuff. And this kind of violent civil rights group is formed for nothing. It's not defending anyone. It's not helping anyone.
So this guy, this guy basically he's a comedy writer. He comes on Joe Rogan. He says this. And there's some ex posts that he's critical of Trantifa and the Zizian cult. Folks. And so then he goes to the United Kingdom. And what happens when he goes to the United Kingdom? He basically gets rolled up. And he gets arrested for essentially these tweets. I can't remember. Does it have?
Funnily enough, I literally just said all he really had to do was just stay in the U.S. and claim asylum after making these tweets.
So he made he tried to put his professional life back on together. So he's a friend of Andy No, right? On Monday, September 1st, he returned to London to face a criminal trial later this week brought by trans activists who accused him of harassment. He never made it out of Heathrow. 5 armed officers arrest him over ex-posts deemed hateful against trans people. The alleged offensive posts are included below. He basically said if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if nothing else fails, punch him in the balls. And then there's a Trantifa mob, and he says a photo you can smell. And then he says, I hate them, misogynists and homophobes, fuck them. And so this is what he says, and he's arrested for it. which makes total sense because that's the trajectory that the United Kingdom is on. And this is not about this guy who got arrested. This is about the United Kingdom and where they're going and why their citizens are fucking outraged. We've been talking about the migrant threat and things like this, and people. Well, ultimately, the threat is by the English government. Like that's the threat. The tyranny of the. Everybody wonders like why we have the ability to keep and bear arms, right? And why it shouldn't be infringed or shall not be infringed. This is it. This is it. What the United Kingdom is doing is exactly in the modern era what a Western, country can do that is tyrannical.
Well, what's funny is these are the same people who would say Donald Trump is rolling back your rights. Donald Trump is damaging democracy worldwide. Meanwhile, they're arresting people for mean words on the internet. That's not democracy.
Right. Well, it goes back to projection, Joe. We talked a lot in the Biden years about how the left constantly was projecting what they felt and thought onto us, right? Oh, these people are hateful, blah, blah, blah. It's because you're hateful. So you can only see through your kind of reality, right? And because you hate people, this is a totally normal thing for you to think of other people. So let's play this clip here. This is shared by Elon Musk. He says, a government that puts foreigners above its own people is by definition treasonous and illegitimate. The people of Britain deserve a government that represents their interests, not those of shadowy foreign organizations. I agree. I think, you can criticize Elon all you want, but ultimately when he's right, he's right. And in this case, he's right. And it's got 8 million views on this video. So let's play this.
Your lawyers, under your guidance, have said in terms that the rights of asylum seekers are more important than the rights of local people in Epping Forest. Would you at least acknowledge that that is what they will hear? And it's up to you. Ministers can say we agree with that or we don't agree with it. You can't simply say let's balance things. Do you agree with what your lawyers said or don't you?
Yes, of course we do. But
your lawyers under your guidance.
Pretty. I mean, Joe, it's pretty cut and dry, isn't it?
It is, but it's pretty rich for Elon Musk to be highlighting this while he imports H-1Bs.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're going with that, Joe, but I don't think it's helpful because. I mean, ultimately, that's not what we're talking about here today. Like if we want to do an H-1B,
again, my apologies. Shut up, Joe.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if I disagree with somebody, if they say the right thing, I'm not going to say they said the wrong thing, right? I'm not going to, it doesn't invalidate the statement.
I said it's rich coming from him. That's not saying he said the wrong thing at all. I just said it's pretty rich coming from him.
I do wonder though if he might be changing his tune a little. He did post last night when he said, that the biggest threat to the West was, I can't remember the first thing that he said, but the second one was migration. I wonder if maybe, I don't know, I could be wrong. Genuinely though, maybe the dude thought it was all a great thing because it was benefiting his company and didn't see any of the negative side effects because he lives in an ivory tower.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he is disconnected from reality for exactly the reasons why, and Joe, nobody's saying that Musk can do no wrong. I disagree with Musk's position on this. I just don't think.
I literally just said it.
Well, his H-1B position has been very wrong, but I wonder.
I agree.
Again,
I agree.
If maybe he's educating himself.
Let's see. Not accurate. This situation was caused by British people's concern over immigration and the rapid demographic changes. No. But the point is that I'm making is that this is the United Kingdom's government is causing these things. And the one point I guess that I'm not connected to that what he said is that he's talking about shadowy outside organizations. I think he means like WEF kind of folks and whatnot. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if those people are involved or not. Ultimately, UK government is rolling over for people who aren't the British people. go ahead, Watcher.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to just move on to the next tweet here, where basically this is Tommy Robinson basically saying about free speech. Reform UK are now suspending counselors who share Tommy Robinson's posts on social media. So, I mean, even Reform UK, which is supposed to be the right-wing darling of, and savior of British politics, is taking up essentially a leftist point of view. And this kind of goes back to the point that all politicians in Europe, no matter how far right they are ultimately leftists.
I have an interesting question, since we're about to bring up another one of his tweets here. So I think it's great. I'm happy that Musk has decided that, this is a case he wants to take up. Why? Well, I
think he's tired of getting kicked in the teeth over the stupid shit that he's saying, and he wants to be on the right side of an issue, is what I think.
Okay, that could be part of it. I guess another part of it I didn't think of is it could just all be self-motivated because of X and the internet censorship laws. He could be just going after this as a means of getting rid of that, I suppose. But I was going to say, I don't understand it. I understand the U.S. because you move to the U.S. and then you involve yourself in the politics because now you live here, right? But this one seems a little...
Hey, you missed one. Go back. There was one I wanted to play before we went to the next one. It's in the notes.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking now. Yep. Oh. Yeah, this one was interesting. Full screen and...
So it's amazing how you're a hero one year and the next year you're a fascist thug.
To get housed in my own city after service, I was denied. But I'm so pleased. I'm proud to call myself from Portsmouth. They insult us. They abuse us. They let us down. We get a clap once a year. I used to be called a hero, and now my own Prime Minister has labelled me a far-right bug. The veterans have had enough. Yes. They are not going to fight for Starmer. I fought for this country and was prepared to die for the flag. Never did I think I'd be put in the situation I might have to die to protect it from its leaders.
I mean, there's a lot of people in America that feel the same way.
I would challenge, if you want to be seen as a thug, don't wear a thick silver chain around your neck.
I was thinking a similar thought.
I was also thinking about the tattoos, but a lot of military guys have tattoos. But
tattoos I'm fine with. It's the thick gold chain.
The chain. Yeah. I think that's more of a working class Britain thing that we don't connect with. But I'm with you there.
I do not get that.
All right, now go to the next one. Let's see. So this kind of goes back to Farage and so when you have guys like that, with this is the guy who a year ago was voting for reform and Farage and all that kind of stuff, and now fast forward a year and basically they have to come up with another party. And that's Advance UK. And so essentially, Advance UK is now the kind of, if you click on that link right there in the thing. So this is the new kind of conservative, ultra far radical right wing party here. That is evidently it's already polling well.
At risk of upsetting everyone again. The problem with Reform UK is the behind the scenes people are the same behind the scenes people from Elon Musk's thing, and they speak Hindi.
Yeah.
Who's the leader of the Advance UK party? The new one.
Well, if I remember correctly, I thought they were Pakistanis, not Hindi. But
what's the former name of Pakistan?
I got it. Muslim versus Hindu, though, is what I was just kind of But yeah, you're absolutely right. These are the people who are running. I don't know. I make a strong distinction. I was just clarifying that's where. Am I wrong, Joe?
That's not the point.
No, my point is that if I make a small correction, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just correcting the record, right?
Okay.
I think there's a Muslim problem in addition to, there being a Central Asian problem.
To make. Who is the leader of the Advanced UK Party? What is his last name?
I don't know what his name is.
Actually, let me look it up.
Ben Habib.
Why do they keep? Is this just a strategy to keep controlling the opposition party? Is that what's happening? Yeah, Ben Habib. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then what's the female minister's name? She's the Pakistani lady. Anyway, I apologize, Joe. Continue your point.
No, I already did. I just did. What's the guy's name? Billy Bloggs, who's from the UP, laughed and said Habib. If you're going to have a party that's going to solve your Muslim immigration problem,
that's pretty funny.
I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't start out with a guy named Habib.
No, I think you're right. And here's the problem is that ultimately they're trying to say that UK doesn't have a Muslim problem. The UK doesn't have a Central Asia problem. It does have both of those things. And they're two distinct problems. The problem is they overlap like a Venn diagram. But ultimately, Farage a year ago was saying that people like Tommy Robinson don't have a place in his party. People who are against Muslim or immigration in general don't have a place in his party. And so this is the reason why you have guys like Tommy Robinson drawing huge numbers in these public protests that they're organizing. I think there's one towards the end of the month. Ultimately, though, free speech is the kind of crux of this issue, I think, and the suppression. It kind of goes back to this guy. He wasn't even criticizing immigration and things. He was criticizing the trans thing, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. They have a broad and strong support for street. Oh yeah. What is this? This is.
Well, actually, if you're good for it, I should have added this beforehand, but I didn't even think about it. Here's a Brit who summed up the situation quite well, and it's quite funny if you guys would like to watch it. It's not very long.
I apologize.
No Venn diagrams. Yeah, I thought this was in the best tradition of British songwriting.
I am the very model of the modern left-wing technocrat. Here is the strategy, the summary, the crux of where we're at. I am replacing the population with an underclass that's oh so cheap to pay. I am importing into the nation gazillions of people in this way. How many I really couldn't say.
Cheap to pay. Good stuff. I'd go check it out. It's
not AI, oddly enough.
Yeah, no, he does all the parts himself. Like I said, he's very good. It's on my page if you guys want to go check out the full thing. I won't put you through 3 minutes of musical theater, but yeah.
Please don't. There was something that came out about crime stats in the UK as well, where it literally you had to go down all the way to the bottom before you got a non-Muslim country as causing foreigners causing criminal problems in the United Kingdom. All right. Overton window is moving at light speed. In the UK right now. Streeting suggests hate speech laws should be revised, saying that they have unintended consequences. Well, no shit. At Downing Street lobby briefing yesterday, the Prime Minister's spokesperson was reluctant to commit directly on the arrest of Gran Lindham. This is the comedian that we were talking about in the very beginning of the segment. But he did say that Keir Starmer thought the police should be focused on antisocial behavior, shoplifting, street crime, as well as reducing serious violent crimes like knife crime and violence against women. It was shocking that they were finally want to focus on these things. I mean, does this surprise you guys at all that they're trying to make this up at the last minute?
Define antisocial behavior.
Yeah, clearly it includes calling people Trantifa.
Yeah. Against the social will, right?
No. Yeah, I don't buy it that they're going to make any changes at all to their anti-hate or their their anti-freedom of speech positions. They are like pot committed at this point. There's no way in hell they get away from these because they're too. Let's see, just to show you that it's not just in the UK. This probably sounds like a fake story, but I assure you it's 100% real. Dublin City Council has requested a meeting with senior Gardaí police because too many Irish flags have been put up. Let that sink in. The Irish flag is now offensive in Ireland. Let's see. Dublin City Council aware of the concerns expressed by both elected members as well as members of the local community and resident groups regarding the proliferation of the national flag being hung across particular areas of the city. Dublin City Council is taking the matter seriously. It is a sensitive issue which requires considerate response from all stakeholders, which should be informed by a comprehensive risk assessment in the situation. In this regards, all managers are meeting. So ultimately, they're basically kind of come to the decision to go around and ask people to take their flags down is what they'll do.
I would say the current law should reflect whatever the people's will is. And what is the current law? The current law is that you can fly an Irish flag in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the British flag in the UK. The same thing with an American flag here at home. By the way, I'm so committed to this that I just opened this can of Monster using a bayonet. We're on a war here.
Yeah, only in America, ladies and gentlemen. But the irony, Joe, is that while the laws are, that's true, right? Could you imagine in America, like where people would go around at 4th of July and say, this would be the locals, right? The local go, hey, can you take your American flag down? It's really upsetting people.
Yes, because I've seen videos of it.
Has it happened in America?
Yes,
because that's what's going to happen in
it happens
Ireland.
in homeowners associations all the time. And I would say, you know what? You're right. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to put one up about 5 times the size of the one I just took down.
Correct. That is.
Yeah, this one is clearly not big enough. If you're just asking me to take it down. All right.
Funnily enough, there was an RV dealership at a place that I used to live that did exactly that. The city kept coming after him for it, and so every time he'd put up a new one, and they'd have to start a new legal action because it was technically a new flag and larger.
All right, gentlemen, that's all we have for today. Joe, what are you thinking for, kind of going into the end of the week? Likelihood of the Venezuela explosion, or where do you think we might see in the world?
I am betting that we will see action against Venezuela, or a big speech by Maduro, something like that really drives it up. A little known thing that happened that I want everyone to pay attention to as well. France has issued a directive to all medical facilities in their nation that by March, they need to be prepared to accept mass casualties of a combat nature. Some reason why they're requesting that. So.
Interesting. You got any thoughts on where that might kind of come from?
Yeah, they're going to keep poking the bear until there's a war with Russia. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. All right, Watcher. What's your take on the mid part of the week? It's Hump Day.
Gosh, I'm not gonna lie, I've been really disconnected from the news, but it seems like the whole Trump is dead thing didn't go quite the way they were hoping. And that, in my opinion, I'm sorry, but like when people start to degenerate like that, like this one was the stupidest fucking one ever, and I know everybody's laughing about it, but I am not, because that's a sign of degeneration, in my opinion. It's a sign that like they're able to tip their people off and make them go into a frenzy over smaller and smaller and smaller things that are less and less connected from reality. And I think that's a sign that dumb shit's about to start. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that like that was going on in the middle of the night, I guess, stateside time. So like there was no like pinging from X at all. And my wife comes in and says, "Hey, did you hear about this? Like Trump may be dead," because it was on the Korean internet. And it was like, he's not dead. It would be all over X. People would literally wake up in the middle of the night if that was going on. But
well, the left is openly fantasizing about it.
Yeah, exactly right. I think somebody they must have been getting off to the wrong thing.
Fan fiction.
Exactly right.
Even JD Pritzker bought into it and said, "Can we see proof of life on Donald Trump?" He said that the other day. So,
well, I thought that piece of video with Peter Ducey kind of showing him the stuff, and I thought that was kind of funny. It was a kind of good way to handle it. I guess don't miss your golf dates, Donald. That's what I would learn from this. All right, gentlemen, that's all I've got for the show today. Thank you for being here. We did well. I guess you guys were happy to see us back together again because we had good numbers for today. So thank you so much for being here. As always, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notification. Let your buddies know that you're getting good stuff over here at CFC. For Joe and Watcher, thank you guys very much. And as always, stay safe.